I never met P2B for reconciliation. Rather, he apologized several times for the misconduct of his followers. Soyinka says. Wale Soyinka says, welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. Please subscribe to our channel. Nobel laureate Prof. Wale Soyinka on Monday noted that the visit of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, P2B, to his residence in Abeokuta, Ogun State was not for reconciliation, but an apology visit for misconduct of P2B's followers. Soyinka, in a statement obtained by Sahara reporters titled A Visitation and a Law of Reconciliation, said Obi's meeting with him was where discussions were frank and creative. Earlier, the Labour Party candidate has also confirmed meeting with the Nobel laureate. He was silent on the issues discussed, but rather said the visit was intended to erase the needless misconceptions about the relationship with the great icon, the obedient family. Soyinka, in his release on Monday, clarified the visit, noting that it was to offer an apology. He said, "Before I gained traction on the backs of a life on his own, I wish to state clearly that the word reconciliation inserted into some reports of P2B to me yesterday, Sunday, May 7th, is the most inappropriate and the divisionary invocation. Let me clarify. I know the entity known as P2B, presidential candidate of Labour Party. I can relate to him. I know I can relate to Labour Party on whose platform he contested elections. There are simply no issues to reconcile between these two entities and myself. However, I do not know and I'm unable to relate to something known as the obedient family. Thus, Albert, in a different vein, any notion of reconciliation or even relations, positive, negative, or indifferent, which such a spectrum emanation is simply grasping at empty air." During the meeting, attended by two other individuals only, the word reconciliation was never breathed, neither in itself nor in any other form. It simply did not arise. By contrast, there was expression of burden of leadership, responsibility, apology, pleading, formal dissociation from the untenable, all the way to the tragic ascendancy of ethnic cleavage, especially under such ironic, untenable circumstances. Discussions were frank and creative. The notion of reconciliation was clearly non-applicable. It was never raised. The following should be understood but never underestimated. What remains ineradicable from the weekend of orgastic rave in the social media was the opening up of dark putrid recesses in the national psyche that we like to pretend do not exist. It invited into minds seeking a grasp on reality, gruesome variations on images from Dante Purgatorio. A fathomless pit was exposed, at the bottom of which was glimpsed a throng of the damned, writhing in competitive lust for the largest of the gangrenous laddos in a diabolical broth. To peek over the edge of that pit for a prolonged spell was to turn giddy, with the risk of falling into the tyranny of inhuman pause. To attempt to navigate one way, however gingerly, along a mat spread across the infernal abyss is an invitation to moral suicide. For the serious-minded, I call attention to essays that I have offered on the theme of reconciliation based on truth and a fathomless piece was exposed, at the bottom of which was glimpsed a throng of the damned written in competitive lust for the largest of the gangrenous laddos in a diabolical broth. To peek over the edge of that pit for a prolonged spell was to turn giddy, with a risk of falling into the touring of inhuman pause. To attempt to navigate one's way, however gingerly, along a mat spread across the infernal abyss is an invitation to moral suicide. For the serious-minded, I called attention to essays I have offered on the theme of reconciliation, based on truth and the ethical imperative of restitution. There will be further elaborations forthcoming in Democracy Premier the Third, Bookcraft Intervention Series, now brought forward for publication on June 12th. The watershed extorted from the current regime as the nation's Democracy Day. 8. From here on, I now comply with entreaties from several valued, genuinely concerned the directions and ignore new provocations. However vile, it is only because I also approve of Muhammad Ali's strategy of rope a dope where blind menace is left flailing hopelessly at the disdainful manifesto of truth. All this English is not necessary. Why? You are coming out to say there was no reconciliation. That to me it is not. But English necessary because why? Somebody don't come apologize to you. You say it's not reconciliation, it's an apology. Sometimes we self the one, we are our own problem. Now, what exactly is Soyinka trying to say? Somebody come meet you, apologize. You say no be reconciliation. You can't speak BB grammar follow am. Now this kind of thing then they vex me. Oh. English is not our mother's tongue, first of all. Nobody should stress anybody. Because even reading all these things, I'm like, Somebody come outside saying, I don't reconcile. I never reconcile. You did not apply to the apology. Because now this one could necessary. I am sorry I'm sounding this harsh, but this is how it is. Somebody can apologize to you, Abby. You're supposed to be saying, I don't reconcile. Okay, fine. You can simply leave it at, oh, okay, you're not reconciled. There was an apology, but you no agree. Maybe if you come outside on the street, which one be all this plenty English on top waiting. On top waiting. There was not this one, the not kilo day. Ha. Now wow. Professor Soyinka has become too flippant an old man. What's the difference does it really make whether P2B apologizes on behalf of the obedient family or for himself? I believe Oluwaye Soyinka cannot hide the dislike for both Obi and the obedient family. That is what people will see it as. You are coming out to say there is no hate, but you are still, what you are doing is still showing that you don't, these people, you never reconcile with them. What is that supposed to mean? Somebody can't knock on your door for reconciliation. You're saying you don't accept. Ha. The harder Obi tries, the more he gets rebuffed by Soyinka. Some say the elections are over, but for some, they will never be over. Alright, they had a private meeting. Who leaked it to the press? Why blame Soyinka, who only tries to correct the falsity in the private meeting? How is it falsity? He himself said he apologized. Now, his apology now, what's he coming for? They like to distress issues we no even suppose. They did not use the term reconciliation. Ha. Now, wow. Your PhD and prowess in the English language should have helped you greatly to Ghana from the report that Soyinka was not the only source of this story. Soyinka would have told the story accurately instead of now addressing the inaccuracies in it. Well, whatever. If or less this story does not come from Soyinka, but me, I'm saying they don't go there. Why wouldn't you accept that you have reconciled? And even though, why wouldn't you come outside and say they apologize to you, but you know reconcile? Many say you don't accept the apology. State it in clear white and black English language. Which one is plenty big what's it called, ambiguous grammar that is too ambiguous for some people to understand. Ha. All right. On this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.